Hey there, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to all of our hearts, our health. We're talking about something that affects so many people and families, and that's cancer. It's a scary word, but knowledge is power, right? We're not here to diagnose or scare you, but to empower you with information. We're going to talk about some foods that have been linked to an increased risk of cancer. Now, I'm not saying that if you had one hot dog today, you're doomed. But like anything else, it's all about moderation and making informed choices for a healthier, happier you. So grab your water bottle, get comfy, and let's break down these foods. Understand why they might be harmful and learn about some healthier alternatives. Let's be honest, who doesn't love a juicy hot dog at a barbecue or crispy bacon with breakfast? But here's the thing about processed meats like bacon, sausage, deli meats, and hot dogs. They often contain chemicals and preservatives that, to put it simply, aren't our best friends. We're talking about things like nitrates and nitrites, which are added to preserve color and flavor. Sounds harmless, right? Well, when these guys hit our system, they can form compounds called nitrosamines, and those have been linked to an increased risk of certain cancers, especially colorectal cancer. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy a bacon cheeseburger again, but think of it this way. Maybe save those processed meats for special occasions and focus on incorporating more fresh, unprocessed protein into your daily diet. Think grilled chicken or fish, lean cuts of meat, beans, lentils, tofu. The options are endless and delicious. And hey, if you're craving that smoky bacon flavor, there are some great plant-based alternatives popping up that are actually pretty darn good. Remember, it's all about balance. Indulge occasionally, but make conscious choices most of the time, and your body will thank you for it. Okay, let's talk about those smoky, charred delights that make our mouths water. I'm talking barbecue ribs, grilled steaks, even that crispy edge on your toast. They taste amazing, but there's a catch. When we cook food over an open flame or at high temperatures, something called heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, can form. These are big words, but basically they're chemicals produced when meat, poultry, or fish get a little too cozy with those high heats. Now here's the thing. HCAs and PAHs have been linked to an increased risk of cancer. And while we all love a good char, it's all about finding that balance again. Don't worry, you can still enjoy your BBQ. Just try to avoid charring your food too much. Marinate your meats before grilling. It can actually help reduce HCA formation. And when you are grilling, flip your food frequently to avoid excessive charring. Remember, it's not about deprivation. It's about making small adjustments for big health wins in the long run. Let's talk about alcohol. Now, I enjoy a nice glass of wine with dinner as much as the next person, but it's important to be mindful of our consumption. Because here's the deal. Excessive alcohol intake has been linked to an increased risk of several types of cancer, including mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, breast, and colorectal cancer. I know it's a buzzkill, right? But knowledge is power. The key here is moderation. For women, that means sticking to 1 drink or less per day. And for men, it's 2 drinks or less. And remember, a drink is smaller than you might think. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy a cocktail with friends or a glass of wine with dinner, but maybe consider alternating alcoholic drinks with water or juice, or opting for mocktails more often. Your body will thank you for it, and you'll still be the life of the party. Let's be honest, sugary drinks are delicious. Sodas, sports drinks, sweetened juices, they can be so tempting. But here's the thing about these sugary beverages. They don't just add inches to our waistlines, they can also increase our risk of cancer. Now, sugary drinks don't directly cause cancer, but they can lead to weight gain and obesity, which are major risk factors for several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and endometrial cancer. The good news is, swapping out sugary drinks for healthier alternatives is easier than you think. Water is always a winner. It's refreshing, calorie-free, and does wonders for our bodies. Unsweetened tea, sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon or lime, and even homemade infused water with fruits and herbs are all fantastic options. Okay, so we've talked about sugary drinks, but what about those sugar-free alternatives? Artificial sweeteners are often marketed as healthier options, but there's growing concern about their potential link to cancer. Now, the research on artificial sweeteners is still ongoing, and it's a bit of a controversial topic. But some studies have suggested a possible connection between artificial sweeteners and an increased risk of certain cancers, including bladder cancer. So, what's the bottom line? Well, it's always best to err on the side of caution. Instead of reaching for those brightly colored packets of artificial sweeteners, try to gradually reduce your overall sweetness intake. Your taste buds might need some time to adjust, but trust me, it's worth it. Look, I'm as much a fan of a juicy burger as anyone else. But here's the deal with red meat. Consuming large amounts of it, especially processed red meat, has been linked to an increased risk of certain cancers, particularly colorectal cancer. Why? Well, it's thought that certain compounds formed during the cooking process, as well as the heme iron found in red meat, might play a role. Now, this doesn't mean you have to swear off steak forever. It's all about balance and moderation. Try to limit your red meat intake to a couple of times a week and opt for smaller portions. And here's a fun tip. Load up your plate with plenty of fruits, veggies, and whole grains. They're not only good for you, but they'll also help fill you up. Canned foods. They're lifesavers on busy days, right? But here's the thing. Some canned foods are lined with a chemical called bisphenol A, or BPA, to prevent rust and spoilage. Sounds harmless enough, right? Well, BPA is what's known as an endocrine disruptor, meaning it can mess with our hormones. And studies have linked BPA exposure to an increased risk of certain cancers, including breast cancer and prostate cancer. Now, before you swear off canned goods forever, there are ways to minimize your risk. Look for BPA-free cans. Many brands are now making the switch, and when possible, opt for fresh or frozen fruits and vegetables, which don't come with the BPA baggage. Okay, let's talk about those crispy golden brown delights fried and burnt foods. French fries, potato chips, that crispy edge on your toast? They're undeniably delicious, but they come with a potential health risk. When starchy foods are cooked at high temperatures, like deep frying or baking to a crisp, a compound called acrylamide forms. And guess what? Acrylamide has been classified as a probable human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IIRC. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy a plate of fries again, but as with everything else, moderation is key. Try baking or air frying your foods instead of deep frying them. And when baking, aim for a golden yellow color rather than a dark brown. Remember, it's all about making small changes that can have a big impact on our health in the long run. Salted fish, a delicacy in many cultures, can unfortunately be a bit of a health hazard. Eating large amounts of salted fish, especially types that are preserved with salt and then dried or smoked, has been linked to an increased risk of nasopharyngeal cancer, a type of cancer that affects the area at the back of the nose and upper throat. The culprit? It's thought to be a combination of the high salt content and certain compounds that form during the preservation process, like nitrosamines. Now, I'm not saying you have to banish salted fish from your diet entirely, but if it's a regular staple in your meals, try to cut back and enjoy it in moderation. Remember, variety is the spice of life, and diversifying your diet is always a good idea. We all know that fruits and vegetables are nutritional powerhouses, but when it comes to non-organic produce, there's a hidden concern: pesticides. Pesticides are chemicals used to protect crops from insects, weeds, and diseases, but some of these chemicals have been linked to potential health risks, including cancer. Now, I understand that organic produce can be more expensive, and it's not always accessible to everyone. But if you can afford it, opting for organic fruits and vegetables, especially those on the Dirty Dozen list, which highlights produce with the highest pesticide residues, can be a good step. If organic isn't an option, don't worry. Washing your fruits and vegetables thoroughly under running water can help remove some pesticide residues. So there you have it, folks. We've covered a lot of ground today, from processed meats to sugary drinks and everything in between. Remember, this isn't about living in fear or restriction. It's about empowering yourselves with knowledge and making informed choices that align with your health goals. What are your thoughts on these foods? Do you have any healthy swaps or tips you'd like to share? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. Remember, small changes can make a world of difference when it comes to our health. Here's to a healthier, happier you.